Hey everybody, Captain Ron here again with another episode of Fearless Flight Live with my trusty friends here and associates and business people helper, Dieter Staudinger up in Toronto, Eric Larson here in the Phoenix area with me, and Diane remotely broadcasting from beautiful downtown Monroe, Louisiana. Diane's on a trip there, so. This is the place that we hope you'll come if you have a fear of flying, or if you know somebody that has a fear of flying, or if you just like to catch up on what's kind of current in the aviation industry. And we're glad to have you every week. We appreciate it. Please feel free to leave a comment, or if you're watching us live, or even the replay. And we love your questions. Tonight we got a special guest in just a minute we're going to introduce, with just a couple of things we wanted to talk about. Eric was talking about Eric had a number of things that he brought out there. So we'll talk about the flying car first, because he and I are of the age with Diane too, that I think that's covered more popular mechanics covers than any other topic there. So I'll share the screen here real quickly, and we'll give the viewers a little bit. What do you know about the flying car, Eric?
So the flying car, as Ron mentioned, Popular Mechanics was a magazine, for our viewers who know what a magazine is. And ever since Ron was a small boy, before I was born, Popular Mechanics was publishing pictures of the wave of the future, the flying car. And in fact, if any Indians were subscribing to Popular Mechanics, they were probably telling them to give up the horse and stop dragging stuff because the flying car was coming. Well, now it's here. This company, Samson, in Bend, Oregon, has got initial FAA approval. They approved of the design. They approved of the production methods. It passed its high-speed taxi testing within the last couple days, and the FAA has said, yes, we intend to certify this vehicle as a flying vehicle, that it's a high quality production, and we're going to put it together. The car, the wings, Dieter and Ron have a bunch of pictures, extend from right above the wheels, extend back. There's a elevator and rudder assembly that comes out of the back. You can't have two engines because it's too much weight. So it has a pusher propeller, as Diane said, much like a Everglades airboat, that will provide thrust both on the ground and in the air. Yes, you have to be a pilot to purchase the flying car. And no, you cannot go screaming down your neighborhood street, mowing down kids and pets and take off. The flying car will have to be driven to a real, no kidding, airport, converted to airplane mode, flown to another no kidding airport, converted to car mode, and then driven to whatever den of iniquity you want to drive to. So there are rules, just like they have for airplanes, and it will have to comply with the airplane rules when it's flying, and enough car rules to get certified to drive around. But evidently it's close, and it's on the way, and just passed its taxi test. They have 2,100 firm orders, evenly split between retired airline pilots who are not done getting in trouble yet, and NASA engineers, but they have plenty of firm orders of people who want to buy it. So it may be on the market and buzzing around soon.
You know, wow. Just an observation, Eric. I was looking at the back end there, if you can see that.
Yeah.
Where is the engine in that thing?
We don't on the big back end picture, we don't see it, but that circular deal, the prop is in there. Look at the picture to the left. You can see it looking through the front. The prop takes up that whole diameter of that rear hole.
Oh yeah, I see it.
See it in there? So it is like an airboat. It's a monstrous propeller.
If you put your kids in the back seat, they got to be careful.
Yeah. You can't put your fingers out the back. Can't hold your fingers out the window while you're flying it around.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. And I can only wait.
I want one.
First guy that runs out of gas, just, didn't quite make his driveway or whatever. So have you, just another curiosity, have you seen anything about takeoff performance? Like how long a runway does it take?
Yeah,
All I saw is it's a little over 100 knot cruise. but and so I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any of the normal performance numbers that we would see.
Cool. Okay, and then we had one other thing for all of our fearful flyers who are often worried about what happens if I'm over the water and something happens. That very thing happened, right, Eric?
Yes. An airliner, American airliner, was on the way to London from Miami, and they thought they had some smoke in the cockpit coming from the avionics bay below the floor, which is where we heat where the radios are installed, the physical part of the radios. There's a lot of heat down there, and the air it's cooled and exhausted and everything else. So they thought they detected an odor, and out of an abundance of precaution, they went to a perfect alternate right in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, Bermuda. And so they turned back around and went to Bermuda, which had perfect weather and a perfect place to land. And so the airplane landed with no incident and no harm. Unfortunately, what is great for the pilots is not always great for the passengers. Bermuda is a sovereign nation, British Overseas Protectorate, and nobody on board met the COVID entrance requirements. So they were isolated to the airport with what few blankets they had, 8 bathrooms, no showers, and had to wait for the airline to send another airplane to get them because I don't think a repair was effected quickly. So it was a little bit of a miserable layover, but it was a very safe outcome for a potentially hazardous situation.
So that's the 120-minute rule in effect. That's how they had an alternate that qualified for that. And another thing that might be worth mentioning is when, let's say we were flying from New York to Los Angeles in the middle of the night and we had a medical problem. We use, just to kind of close the loop on this, we make decisions based on where's the best place to land. So we might overfly someplace in the middle of the night, and because they might not have the facilities or the ability to handle the people on the airplane there, or even the person that's having some sort of physical problem, which is kind of touches on what Eric said there. So and we most of the airline, I think all the airlines use a service as kind of a subscription service so that we can access them. One such service is MedLink, and they're actually based out of Phoenix here. And so if you were on an airplane, had a heart attack or had symptoms, the flight attendants would check you out, fill out a report, and or depending on the airplane you're on, now the newer airplanes have satellite phones, and so they can directly call MedLink, get the details, and talk to the ER at St. Joe's Hospital and find out what would be the best outcome. So sometimes they'll say you're good to continue on to the destination. Sometimes they say, no, we think you ought to put it on the ground as quickly as you can. And then they will already have their network working on where's the best place to receive us based on time of day and things like that. So again, we just wanted to let you know that those are the kinds of things that happen in the real world sometimes. The infrequency, you already know, because it just doesn't happen that often. But when it does, it works out. And as Eric reported today. So, okay, we've got a special guest tonight. Her name is Heather Shelbrack, and Heather is the let me get the title here. I want to make sure. Oh, I almost left the meeting. Good thing I didn't do that. Heather is the Communications and Outreach Administrator, Public Relations at Phoenix Sky Harbor. That's our airport here. So Heather, if you want to join us, we'd love to have you and your smiling face. You had light and beauty to the program here tonight, which Eric and I have never been accused of that. So, and glad to have you. And how long have you been doing this? Well, first of all, let's say, what do you do as the Communications and Outreach Administrator at the airport?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me tonight, Ron. In my role, I oversee 2 main sections in our Public Relations Division at the City of Phoenix Aviation Department. And those sections are our Public Information section, which handles all of our media requests, manages our 7 social media channels, all of our website content, printed material, and video production. And then I also oversee our community and events section, which handles events, sponsorships, tours, speaking engagements, various community relations activities. And then I also work with our deputy director on government relations.
Okay. And before we talk a little bit more in detail about what you do, what's your background? Just out of curiosity, how could I be one of you if I wanted to be one of you?
So I've been with the City of Phoenix Aviation Department for 15 years. But before that, I actually began my career in high school and college as a newspaper reporter for 2 weekly publications in a small town in Indiana. And then
where in Indiana? I'm from Indiana. Where?
Newburgh, Indiana, down by Evansville.
Okay, I'm at the other end of the state. So yeah. Oh, cool. Another Hoosier.
Yeah. And so I did an internship in college, actually, with the U.S. Olympic Committee, and got into public relations there. Really liked public relations. So after I graduated from college, I actually got a job with Mesa Air as a communications coordinator and worked there for a little while before moving to AIG Financial Advisors to write, about financial services and do other communications. But I got to tell you, once you get into the aviation world, you can't leave it behind. And an opportunity came at the airport, and here I am.
So I know you've helped us become more visible in the Phoenix area, and with the website, stuff like that. So basically, what does an airport need public relations for? Come on, we just go there to fly. It's
a many things. It's getting information out to customers. Getting information out to the community. So anytime we have a new service or initiative, whether that's, a new airline that's launching service or new routes or the opening of our new 8th concourse, we wanted to get the word out about that. And then, engaging with customers in the community on our social media, answering questions. We have a customer service team that's wonderful. And we also do customer service on our social media as people have questions. Maybe they don't know how long it's going to take to transfer terminals, or maybe they want to know if a certain restaurant's open. So we're there to respond and to help them.
Wow. And I know just getting around a terminal is a major challenge for a lot of people. When I started my airline career, it was up in the old Stapleton Airport. And I remember we had the D gates up there, and we used to complain if you got all the way at the end of that, it was like a quarter of a mile. Now I can't think of an airport that I've been in recently that would be the shortest distance that I had to walk as a passenger or as a pilot there. So and with Phoenix, we have three terminals, so you have to that complicates the transportation if people are changing airlines and they're out of a different terminal as well, right?
That's correct. And actually, we're just down to 2 terminals now because Terminal 2 closed. Right. Yep.
That's right. That's right.
But, to get between the terminals, you have the SkyTrain. And then late last year, we actually opened up a new walkway in Terminal 4 that connects the A and D gate areas post security. So before, if you went past security and wanted to go to the other side of the concourse, you had to walk all the way around. And now you don't have to do that. And we do have a fitness trail in Terminal 4 too. So if you want to get some cardio between flights or before your flights, you can do that as well.
Wow. And I've flown quite a bit in this last year or so. And so I'm much more familiar with Terminal 3, which is completely over. And I just recently flew a couple of times out of the new D concourse over on Southwest there. Nice, really. I mean, that's got to be one of the primo places now in the airport. It's really, really well done. So Diane has is a navigator, longtime navigator. You still work there, right, Diane?
I do. Yeah. I'm not able to volunteer quite as often as I did before with flying, but I do try to get in about once or twice a month to keep seeing all the friends I know. And I'm not going to be flying that much longer, so then I'll go back full time to being a navigator. And this December, I'm coming up on 18 years of volunteering. So I miss that aspect. But Heather's right. Once this aviation thing gets in your blood, I mean, first it started with me being a navigator, and then being a flight attendant. So my whole life kind of revolves around the airport, or some airport anyway.
And that's how Diane and I first met, because she came up to me. She had a number of people would ask her about this so-called Fear of Flying program, and so she asked me, and then she ended up getting hooked. Don't ever come visit us, Heather, because it's a one-way journey. I mean, you'll fall in love with the people that are watching you on the show tonight. It's just.
I made the mistake of asking Ron. I said, "Have you ever had a navigator come to your class just to see what you do?" And he said, "No. Why didn't you come?" And I thought, "Oh, this is going to be fun." Well, this is now 7.5 years later. So.
Yeah. So Phoenix bills itself as the friendliest airport in the world, right? So what kinds of things make us friendly? You must have a big role in that.
Sure. There's so many things that make America's friendliest airport. Our goal is to provide world-class customer service to customers every day. And this extends with our employees first and foremost, both our paid staff as well as our volunteer staff, our navigators, our volunteer chaplains, our volunteer navigator buddies. And then it also extends into how we're improving our facilities to give travelers a more efficient and enjoyable traveling experience. That includes the modernization of Terminal 3, the extension of the SkyTrain to the rental car center, the new 8-gate concourse, and then other amenities such as our Compassion Corner. We have a Compassion Cactus lanyard program for those who self-identify as having special needs and need some extra assistance coming through the airport. So we're always looking for ways to improve the experience for our passengers so that we can continue to be America's friendliest airport.
What do you have any anecdotes of people, that come to mind, that came through the airport and provided or, had some kind of a challenge that wasn't an everyday kind of thing, just how to get from A to B or.
Yeah,
like that?
we get so much feedback from customers, people that write in and they say, that they were really stressed coming to the airport and they didn't know where to go or what to do. And an employee helped them and provided that little extra bit of customer service. Maybe they walked them to their gate or walked them to the ticket counter or did something extra for them. And they just had such a better experience and a much more enjoyable experience. And we get that feedback a lot. And we also like to showcase the great work that our employees are doing. If you follow us on our social media channels, every Friday, we have something called Feel Good Friday, where we highlight an employee that went above and beyond with their exceptional customer service.
Do you still have the radio program on?
Unfortunately, no.
I thought that maybe dropped off. So the pandemic, it hit you like everybody else. What are some of the things that were challenging over the pandemic, other than the obvious things, with access to the airport and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, with the pandemic, like airports across the country and around the world, we saw a significant decline in passenger traffic, and our terminals were, not very full, almost empty. And so our communication shifted to focusing on health and safety messages and what we were doing to keep those who are traveling safe. And we're very proud that we have been accredited 2 years in a row with the GBAC STAR accreditation, which is the Global Biorisk Advisory Council accreditation for our cleaning techniques and our cleaning practices. And we are also accredited with the ACI Health Accreditation, the Airports Council International Health Accreditation. And, since the pandemic, we've seen an increase in our passenger numbers. And in fact, Airport Council World rated us the 11th busiest airport in the world and the 9th busiest in the United States for passenger traffic last year, based on our recovery efforts. So we are seeing an increase in passenger traffic. Travelers are coming back to Phoenix and flying out of Phoenix, and we're ready to assist them.
Do you have kind of a rough idea where you are traffic wise compared to before the pandemic?
We're down slightly. Month over month, we've seen some increases from even last year's numbers and definitely from 2019. Still slightly down, so we're not back up to our 2019 numbers where we had record numbers. We had nearly 46 million back then, but we are seeing increases and we are recovering.
And one of the things I've been involved ever since Carol, which you may not even know Carol, she retired years ago, and then
Carol Clemens?
Yeah, Carol Clemens. Yeah. Carol, and that's when I first got involved years ago when we used to have the Fear of Flying class up on the D concourse, Terminal 4. I mean, on Terminal 4, and right next to the art room where that was. Of course, that all retail and stuff like that. But when I know that I learned from them that you guys participate, you go to other airports and related meetings, other things. Do you have a chance to tour other airports and compare what services they do versus what we do, and have any idea, where Phoenix sits in that?
Yeah, absolutely. So in my current role in public relations, I'm actually on the Airport Council International North America's Marketing, Communications, and Customer Experience Steering Group. So I am in regular contact with peers at airports around North America. We're always, talking about what programs we have, what programs they have, looking at best practices, as well as, sharing challenges. So if there's something that maybe we're having a challenge with, asking our peers, hey, have you experienced this and how's that working for you? And then of course, when I travel personally, I'm always getting to the airport early as it is, because that's just how I am. But as I travel, I'm looking around and I'm like, well, what do they have that we don't have? And, how do they sign for this? Or, is there some special amenity that maybe we could adopt at our airport? Or, just always looking to compare and get ideas for things that we could do in the future.
Well, I've been doing this for 35 years, and in January of 2000, the psychologist that I joined in 1987, his practice got too busy, and by that time I'd got a master's in counseling, so I took it over. And Carol and Deb Ostreicher came to the very first class that I did by myself, and I'll never forget that day. And they've been totally supportive ever since that, as have you, and helped us. And we've gotten compliments that we're the only airport, or this is the only place where you can go to a free Fear of Flying class. So we're continuing that. The next one for anybody watching is going to be on September 10th. And we do that compliments of, or in concert with Southwest Airlines, who lets us actually use an airplane down there. So I want to thank you publicly for you and all the folks that have supported us over the years and helped us find a place. We've met in every terminal over the last years. Every time, it's kind of like what's the thing? Every time you get a new airplane or something, or no, in the hotels as air crews. Every time a hotel does renovation, when it first opens again, the business down. So they put the air crews up there for a while. So we always get really cool hotels when they've reopened after remodeling. And it was kind of the same way here. Whenever, only was he on the other end of it. Whenever you guys would go through remodeling, we'd get shuffled off to somewhere else. But you always had a place for us to hang our hats and stuff like that. And I get a lot of media inquiries because nobody else does anything like this beyond Phoenix. There are some other private people that do programs and stuff, but nobody has a public program like this. And so again, thanks to you guys and your wisdom and insight and foresight to do that. So any questions for us about the Fear of Flying program or anything like that? We work with you, and we're probably going to buddy up with you a little bit after this again, and try to see if we can get some more free stuff from you or whatever. But I do want to thank you for coming on, because it takes a lot of people to make the aviation system work, and airports, they're at the beginning and end of every trip you make. So anyway, any you guys got any other questions, or any questions from anybody out there, Dieter?
Just one real quick for you, Heather. One message to me was, are you aware of people with anxiety, like, maybe not flight anxiety, but being at the airport, and are you and your team specifically, looking to ease that anxiety for travelers? And if so, what kind of things have you been looking at, especially since the pandemic?
Sure. So we have a couple options. Our Compassion Corner, it consists not only of a chapel, but of a sensory room. So those who maybe need a quiet space to get get away from the hustle and bustle of the airport, or if they have a sensory disorder or need, they can use our sensory room. And then we also have our Compassion Cacti lanyard program, which if you self-identify as, maybe needing extra assistance or extra time, you can reach out to our customer service team and request a lanyard. It's free. It's similar to the sunflower lanyard that's used at other airports around the world. And it shows that our staff it will recognize you as someone who needs a little extra assistance or a little extra help as you come through the airport.
So do they identify themselves at the airport, and then you give them that lanyard, and then they carry that with them until they depart, or is that?
Yes, and actually you can fill out the form before you come to the airport. It's at skyharbor.com, and then you can just search Compassion Cacti, or there's also a link in the homepage rotator, and it's a free program. And then if you do get a lanyard, we also have navigator guides that can be requested to help get you to your gate or walk you to your gate. And that's not it's not like an expedited service or anything like that. It's just someone that's available for free to help you to make sure that you get to where you need to go if you need that extra assistance, or maybe you're just a little nervous.
Nice. And I'm sure you've done that on a timer 1,000, Diane, haven't you?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and even if a passenger or any other passenger customer doesn't do that, doesn't identify and get the lanyard, passengers and the customers coming through can see a navigator or say, can you help me with something? Mm-hmm. And as Ron said, I cannot tell you the numbers of people that I have hand carried basically through security to their gate, gotten them on the SkyTrain, gone to a different terminal, gotten them down, whatever they've needed. And that's one of the advantages that we have, the navigators there at Sky Harbor, is that we're mobile. The navigators are mobile. So we don't have to stay in one place. So if we're here in Terminal 4 and we need to help someone get to Terminal 3, that's not a problem. And that's a very special advantage that Sky Harbor offers to all of our customers. It's really, as I said, I cannot tell you over the almost 18 or so many times I've done that. And it's very rewarding for us. I know it's helpful for the customers, but it's very rewarding for us.
Yeah. And certainly if someone's anxious, they don't have to be necessarily afraid to fly, but if they are afraid to fly, probably more than likely anxious, and it can be really complicated for people to move from one flight to another, particularly if they change airlines. It's less common that they would change airlines, but if they even getting from one concourse all the way to the other one can be a challenge for people who are ups or at least nervous to start with. So, well, hey, I really want to thank you, Heather, for coming on tonight and helping us coordinate with some other folks that are going to come on. We're going to have somebody from the TSA and maybe somebody from air traffic control in Phoenix eventually as well. So thanks again. And if there's anything that you need from us, we would be more than happy to provide it for you, and really, really grateful for all the support you've given us over the years. Okay.
Thank you so much. It was fun to chat with you all.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Heather.
Okay,
we're just going to close this up and talk about the 301 class that's coming up. Well, first, it's the 101 class. So that is Phoenix is the only airport that has a free Fear of Flying class. And that's our basic class that we offer. And on the following morning, we offer a webinar for those of you who can't get to Phoenix. So if you go online, when the link that Dieter has put in the chat here will take you to a single page. And then there you can identify if you want to, if you're interested in the class in Phoenix, you click on that button, or you click on the next one if you're interested in the webinar. You can attend both. Obviously, if you live in Phoenix and you want to do the webinars as well the following morning, or any of the mornings that we do that. So the next Career Takeoff 101 class is coming up on September 10th. It'll be from 6 to 8 o'clock. We got the airline to move it up just a little bit. The change in schedule meant that Southwest had airplanes a little bit earlier. We do have it on a Saturday night, not because we don't have another life outside of fear of flying, but because that's the only time airplanes sit on the ground long enough in their day-to-day operations where one will come in early enough that we can do it before midnight. And so that's how we ended up on a Saturday night. But we'll meet there, and you'll get all the instructions when you register for the class. We've got a couple of people, it looks like, driving from LA. When we first started doing this again early in the year, the numbers had dropped off considerably because people just lost sight of the fact that we were doing this every month or most months. And then numbers are back up. I think we're up over 20 or 25 people now for the next class. But come one, come all, it's a lot of fun. And we hold, for the most part, we hold the majority of the class on an actual Boeing 737. We promise we will not move it in any way. I have people ask me, you're not going to fly this thing, are you? No, I wouldn't do that because I don't work for Southwest and I'm too old anymore. So that would be the final act, I'm sure, in my life to do that. So come one, come all. And then on October 15th, if you're in the LA area and you want to fly with us in the Clear for Takeoff 301 class, which is our graduation flight, we're going to fly from Burbank to Sacramento and back. And then the following weekend, we're going to do this something similar in Phoenix. We're going to have another 301 class, and we're going to fly from Phoenix to Burbank and back. So we got a lot of things coming up, and this is all designed to get all of you who are interested in possibly flying over the holidays. So we wanted to get this out of the way so you could dedicate your attention to November and December, maybe taking advantage of the holidays. So anyway, that's all I've got. Any other questions or comments from you guys? Nope.
Unless Peter has them.
Okay.
No, just a couple of comments. That was a really great show, and I mean, it was just awesome to have Heather on there from the airport. And I will say this, I mean, going through all sorts of different airports myself, it is kind of cool that not only are these navigators around, but they are definitely, I'm gonna say, looking out for people who seem, lost or need help. And I've recently spent some time at the Phoenix airport, so I actually, watched them and interacted with a few of them, and that is such a great program. It really.
They've even helped you, haven't they, Eric, get from plane to plane from time to time when you were working? Yeah, no. Okay.
Oh, it's funny that you mentioned that, Dieter, because working in the airport, being a navigator for so long, the navigators that are very, very successful, we can spot someone who has a problem or a question at about 100 paces. I mean, you can see the look on their face. They don't even know they have a question. They don't even know they're lost. And I'll look across and I'll say, I got to go talk to that person right now. And somebody will say, well, why? And I said, well, they're lost. They say, well, how do you know they're lost? I said, I'm sorry, I've worked here for 17 years. I know they're lost. They don't know they are. And you really do. You get a very sixth sense of how someone looks, holds their handbags, pulls their suitcase, all kinds of body language. And the navigators who've been there a long time really zero in on that and proactively help someone. So, because a lot of people are too embarrassed to ask for help. And so this way we get
afraid to fly. Yep. Just like being afraid to fly. We just don't like, we think we're supposed to know everything as flyers.
So that's fun.
Ron was making a joke about it, but during his time and most of my time, we were, if we didn't want to play 21 questions, we could leave and we had another flight, we could leave the cockpit, go out the jetway door, go down onto the ramp, walk across the ramp to the other airplane, walk up over there, avoid all the internal drama. So 110, we do that a lot. And then after 9/11, with everything changing, it's, oh no, you guys can't be walking around loose on the ramp without a special badge. And then we'd go and let ourselves down the jetway door, and the gate agent would come and grab us by the collar and go, no, you have to raise your hand to go down the jetway. I have to look at your ID and make sure you're the right pilot for the right airplane with the right paint job, you can't just go freaking walking down there. Now, if you could just go walking down the jetway like that, you'll get in huge trouble. You get put on double secret probation. So there's a lot more pilots walking around the airport than there were when Ron and I were flying, because we would just avoid the drama and walk around underneath.
And if you have any question related to the airport, to fares, pricing, things like that, the last person to ask is a pilot.
Or a flight attendant.
Yeah, and flight attendant. Although the flight attendants, they tend to be a little bit more knowledgeable because they do work more with people, you know, with tickets and stuff. But yeah, we're the last ones to answer questions about, you know,
I know.
where should
And a lot of times the passengers will come up to me, and I'll be in Dallas at DFW, and someone will say, just because you have a uniform on, they'll say, I have a question. Where's it? I'm going, I have no idea.
Right.
My home airport is famous.
Yeah.
You know, I've never been here before. I have no clue. Yeah.
Yeah, some sort of knowledge. So anyway, well, thanks everybody. We're gonna continue branching out from now on. I've got some other people, like I said, I alluded, we're going to have a person from the TSA come in, going to try to get somebody from the air traffic control system. And I've got some people, some authors coming up. We're going to continue taking a deeper dive into anxiety and the problems that go along with that. So stay tuned. It's going to get better. Okay. So thanks a lot, everybody. We're glad that you joined us tonight, and we'll see you again next week for another edition of Fearless Flight Live. Have a great week.